I'm going to do as well what I can best, talk about myself. There is one thing I find particularly fascinating about biology, and this is the fact that the blueprint for a complex organism, as Danny already told you, I work with fruit flies, is stored in a single string of information, the DNA. Now, it is probably fairly obvious to you how I came from this fake DNA, so this fake blueprint, to an entity like that. So in reality, with real fruit flies, this is a little bit more difficult, how you come from a single cell to, well, a full-grown being. This is why we have to focus on particular aspects in our research, or on development of fruit flies in our research. Now, we work with a signaling cascade. This means we investigate how cells talk to each other. Now, this signaling cascade, called Wnt signaling, is quite well renowned. So we know most, or several components, but there are still gaps. And in our work, we try to identify new components which are not known yet. And there we use a technique called genetic screening. Now, what do? We basically alter the blueprint of the organisms using chemicals. So we change the DNA. And then we simply compare the original one with what we call a mutant. Now, you will probably see that in the original one you have nice wings, and in the mutant there are some little holes in it. Now, as we know that Wnt signaling plays an important role in the development of the fruit fly's wing, we can then deduct that in this mutant there is probably one component damaged or destroyed which plays a role in that signaling cascade. By then just reading the blueprint, or as we name it, or as we call it, the DNA, we can identify what goes wrong. And this will give us a further insight how this cell talk is working. Now, it was already mentioned before by Danny that this signaling cascade plays also an important role in cancer, specifically in colon cancer, so in your intestines. Now, understanding the processes during the fly development will help us ultimately also to understand better how this cancer is growing in your gut. So thank you for your attention.